So today, which topic we are going to discuss is, LO extraction. Okay. So what is LO extraction? LO means nothing but here logistics. Okay. LO means logistics data extraction from R3 into BW. Okay. So this topic is having, a little bit importance in each and every interview. They may ask about these, LO extraction to, or not, something like that. Okay. There is a specific importance for it one. So when compared to, we know what is extraction from R3 to BW. Extraction means nothing but, okay, in R3 system, we have a data source and we are extracting the data source into BW, so that is nothing but extraction of data. So in R3 side, we will have some data sources and we will bring them into BW. Extraction means nothing but replicating data from R3 into BW. Okay. So now what exactly here is when we replicate data from R3 to BW, we replicate in form of data source only, and these data sources are categorized. It means, generally, what transactional data, master data, text, there are three different types of data sources. So when coming to master data, okay, what is master data sources? So most of the master data sources always follows full load and a few follows the delta mechanism. Okay. And when coming to master data, what happens? For example, if we take a zero material, ATTR, this is one of the material master data source. Okay. So this particular data source provides, delta mechanism also. It means I can fetch, today if I run init one, tomorrow I can run the delta info package. Okay. I don't know whether we covered delta and init. Yeah, in initial sessions, we covered about init info package, delta info package concept already. Okay. So when come to material master data, if you want a full load, which means all the data, if you want to replicate one more time into BW, you can simply run the full info package and get the data. There is no, it's not a big deal. Even material info object, company code info object, profit center, whatever it may be, all the master data info objects at any point of time, if you want full data extraction from R3 to BW, you can do it. And in real-time projects, okay, we generally do data extraction of master data weekly once into BW, full extraction. On the weekdays, we may get delta extraction to BW, but on weekends, time to time, we always do the full data extraction to BW. Okay, this is about master data. Now coming to the other, when coming to transaction data got subdivided into function modules. Okay, so what are those? One of it is logistics. It is like domain specific or area module specific data sources. Logistics, finance, COPA, CRM, and then many are there. Okay, plant maintenance, many other data sources are there. So each module specific data sources, they have their own importance. And when coming to the extraction to BW also, there are some limitations are there. For example, if I take the finance data sources, most of the finance data sources starts with 0FI underscore. Okay, whenever it is 0FI, it means nothing but it is a finance data source. Okay, for finance data sources, these data sources also supports the delta mechanism. It means today you can run the init and from tomorrow onwards only you can capture the delta records into BW. Okay, so and at any point of time, if you want historical load, then you can run the full load without any prerequisites. Just if you want, for example, if you want the 2022 January information, simply go to this data source, go to your info package, provide selection on the fiscal period, you can extract the data. Okay, and COPA CRM also, like these are also follows normal mechanism. But when coming to logistics, it is not like that. Logistics follows specific approach. Okay, to bring this data source into BW, the mechanism is same, but data load mechanism is completely different. the normal delta is fine, but full info package doesn't work like the master data or our finance master data. Logistics, in order to get the historical data of logistics, we must follow one specific functionality, one specific way of a process. Okay, all those we will discuss in today. So we will start with what is logistic data sources, what kind of data sources, what kind of modules will be covered in the logistics area, and then how to replicate a data source, and what are the important points in this data source mechanism, and all we will get to know in coming time. So in order to access logistic data sources, there is a separate T code, okay, in R3 system. In R3 or S4, it is same kind. So what is the T code? We for all the logistic data sources can be seen under one transaction, that is called LBWE. Okay, LBWE. So I'm going to my backend system. I'm giving LBWE here. You see, then if you go to LBWE, LO data extraction, customization, cockpit. Okay, so what is cockpit means, in one of the interview, someone asked me what is cockpit. I don't know at that time. Cockpit is nothing but a flight. In a flight, the front room is there, right, where pilot sits. They call it as a cockpit. It means from the cockpit he can control each and every part of the flight. Okay, all the functionalities. In the same way, from this particular T code, we can control all the other modules here. If you see here in the LBWE, every module is specified with one number: 02, 03, 04, 5, 6, 11, 12. These are component numbers. Okay, what we call these are component numbers. 02 means purchasing, 03 means inventory, 4 means shop floor, 5 means quality management, okay, 12 means shipping, 11 means sales. Like this, each area they given one number, and we call this number as a application component. Okay, so generally, in the real time also, whenever we talk about inventory related issues, okay, 03 component, 03 is for inventory data sources. Okay, so you see, if you expand this inventory, you can see 2LS03 BF. All the data sources under this 03 component follows with the same naming convention: 2LS03, 2LS03, followed by the the BF means goods movement. You call it as a BF, and UM means stock revaluation. In the similar way, for example, if I go to 11, which most of the time we always take sales data as a reference. In the 2LS11, so 11 is for sales data source. In this particular component, you see all the data sources follows the same naming convention: 2LS underscore 11 11 11. Okay, and after 11 there are some VAHDR, VITM, VAKO, all these are nothing but these relates to the type of data what it is giving. So to VAHDR is for header, HDR means header, ITM means item level data, KON means condition level data, VACL means schedule line level data. Okay, so SAP is providing for each component, and means under each area SAP is already providing some data sources for you, which will extract data from the standard tables and provide the ready-made data to the BW. Okay, so the importance of these data sources when compared to the custom data sources is, so what is, for example, if I take an example of this VAS, VAITM, it is a sales item level data. Okay, so for example, if you are using this particular data source for your BW data extraction into BW data extraction, so what is the use of it? So today, if you extracted some data into BW, whatever new postings, it means any new transactions happened, all the transactions will be captured in one of the delta queues. Okay, so tomorrow if you execute the delta, only the latest changes you can easily capture into BW. Okay, so that is the use of these data sources, and each and every change happened to the historical data also will be captured in separate queues, and you can easily extract them to BW. So if SAP is not providing these data sources, then it is very difficult for any person to extract data from R3 to BW without any missing information and all. Okay, so SAP standard data sources will be very helpful to the BW data extraction and provide the data correctness to the in the BW reports. Okay, so that's why at any point of time when generally when we got a requirement to fetch any sales data, billing data and all, now first we will see whether any of the standard data source given by SAP is fulfilling our requirement or not. If it is fulfilling our requirement, then it is always recommendable to use the standard data sources. If these are not fulfilling our requirement, then only go for the custom data source. Okay, so that this must be keep it in mind. Okay, so when coming to this, so each component has its own data sources given by SAP. So when coming to this data source, this is when how to activate this data source and get into BW. This follows the same process. Okay, so far we learned about what are logistic data sources, what are these numbers, nothing but components. Under each component we get to know we having multiple data sources given by SAP, providing all the functionality by default by the SAP itself. Okay, so we can directly ready-madely use these data sources in our BW system to replicate the data, extract the data from R3 to BW system. Okay, now next point here is how to activate this data source, because in order to bring any data source into BW, we must activate this data source. For example, if you see here, this is one of the brand new system kind, so that's why many of the data sources you see in inactive state. You see, for example, under 02, you see most of the data sources are in inactive state. Okay, and in 03 also inactive. Only inventory, sales data sources, few of the data sources are in active state. The data sources which are in active state, those only I can replicate them into BW. Which are in inactive, I cannot replicate them into BW. For example, if you see it is no need to show you practically, but remember only active data sources you can replicate them to BW. Inactive doesn't show in your BW replication. Okay, so first thing, so how to activate these data sources? Before activating if you click on this activate inactive button, it will toggle to active button. But before you do this one, we need to follow the general process also. If you, for example, here there is a data source called 2LAS11 VAKON. I want to activate this data source. In order to activate this data source, let me go to Notepad first. Let me write this data source name. What is it? 2LIS underscore 11 underscore VAKON. So VAKON. So I am making note of this, this one in my notepad. So now what I will go to? I will go to RSA6 first, because any active data source must be available in the RSA6. Okay, /n RSA6. I am checking my data source is already available in RSA6 or not. It is very important in order to bring any data source into BW, it must be first available in RSA6. If it is not available in RSA6, then it is saying that it is an inactive, you cannot bring it to BW. So what we need to do, I need to go to first RSA5. I hope we already covered these things in our earlier session, but I'm telling one more time. In RSA6 I went. If it is not available in RSA6, then I will go to RSA5. I will activate here. I will do activation, and then I will come to RSA6 to check it is available or not. So now what I am going to do, /n RSA5. So now I am in RSA5. I must expand my SAP tree before searching anything. So expand it and search for your data source. Yeah, it is there. Yeah, my system is having double implementation, so that's why 2 are there. But in general, we always find one data source only. Okay, so 2LS level VAKON. Now activate. Select the data source and activate it. Activate data source button. It is asking for a TR. Yeah, you can provide the package and save it in a TR, or you can simply save the changes in the local object also, temporary package. Okay, so you are done with the activation. Whenever you do activation here, then it comes to RSA6. Now try to search your data source in RSA6. If it is there in RSS6, then you are done. Okay, at least some of the part of your development is completed. Okay, so once it came to RSS6, now we follows the logistic pattern LBWE. Okay, we go to logistics data sources, we go to 11 component, and now here we are trying to make it activate. How to activate here? Now click on the inactive button, it will toggle to active. So while it is coming to active, it is asking for the TR. So you have to provide the activation TR and provide it. Okay, click on OK. Then it comes to active state. Okay, you see now 2LSVAKON got activated. So all the active ones which are in green color and inactive ones we see it in the yellow color. Okay, so this is the mechanism of how to activate any 2LS data source in LBWE. Okay, just to try to repeating one more time, we need to check it whether this data source is available in RSA6 or not. If not available, go to RSA5, activate it, and then it will be activated. Confirm it is in RSA6, then come to here and click on the active button. Okay, then now next point is, I told you these data sources are fetching data from the base tables and providing information to BW. Okay, so now each data source will fetch data from the corresponding base tables. Now you want to know from which table this particular data source is fetching the data. If you wish to know, means because when data is coming to BW at the time of testing, we do some test data validation. It means whether the data came to BW is matching with the data in the ECC or not. This is called testing or data validation. Okay, at that point of time, you must know each record coming from this data source is coming from which table in the R3 system. If you want to know that, so you must know the base tables of this data source. How can I get to know the base tables of this data source? By clicking on this maintenance symbol. Okay, maintenance symbol, click on OK. Yeah, by clicking on this maintenance symbol, it will come to this kind of screen. Okay, select, in this screen you get to know which table the source data is coming. Most of the cases it will provide you the table information. In very rare cases, it won't provide the proper table and it will provide the structure. In such cases, SAP written some logic on the behind to fill those fields. Okay, now if I go to here, so these are okay, I think I missed one point here. So first of all, you must know the structure of this data source. The screen where we came is correct. If you want to know the tables behind this, data extraction. So in this particular screen, you can get to know by clicking on the maintenance. You can get this kind of screen. On the left side entries are the entries which are available at our data source level. Okay. So what is data source level? Now if I go to RSA2 and if I go to my data source. Okay, click on display, extraction tab. On the extractor, on the extract structure, if you double click on it, these are all the fields which this data source is giving to our BW. Okay, so the first one is sales and distribution document number, followed by all these fields. Around how many fields are 88 means around 80 to 88 fields are there here. Okay, in this particular table extraction. So now all these 88 fields are coming from which tables? If you want to know that information, you can see from here. So the first field which we have here is, the field is VBELN. So if you want to know this VBELN field is coming from which table, now search here on the middle term, search for your, field VBELN. So where it will be there. You see BBLN. So BBELN is the field coming from BBUK. The first two letters are something MC something, I don't know what is it, but the second from third letter it will provide you the table name. Now if I go to a new session and open SC11 and I will give BBUK display. You see VBUK is a sales document header, status and administrative data. Okay, this is the table. So from this table it is trying to fetch data when you extract data from this data source. In this table, oh, we don't have any entries in this data source. Okay. Yeah. So this is one of the example. Now what I will do is, to make it more clear, what I will do is I will check for the entries in the VITM. Okay. I click on maintenance of VITM and click on OK button here. Just click on cancel. It will go, open your window in the display mode. Now here I have the data. First, I want to see what are the fields this 2LAS11 VAITM is giving to me. So go to RSA2 and provide your data source name VAITM. Okay, click on display. Now go to extraction. You can go to extraction, or you can go to fields information also. From fields information also you can get to know what are the fields. So here also we have VBELN. So now let's see, from this VBELN is coming from which source table. Now just to try search for your VBELN on the middle column. So here also no. Yeah, here you see here also it is fetching data from VBUK. From VBUK every time it is fetching data. Generally VBELN is fetching, yeah, but these are the tables which SAP refers to fetch data from these data sources. Okay, so no doubt here. Yeah, it is correct only. So next, so now you know what are the fields which are on the right hand side. Okay, which are on the right hand side. These are called fields in the pool. Okay, what exactly these fields are doing here? What it is, when SAP designing this data source, okay, when SAP designing this data source, SAP is trying to provide as many fields information as possible to our to the user. Okay, as of now, in this particular in data source, how many fields are there? If I go to extraction tab, if I go to extract structure, I can see 134 fields are there. Okay, it means 134 fields are enabled for the selection criteria. Okay, and we have many other fields available in the pool. The fields which are on the right hand side, you cannot see them in the extract structure. Okay, you cannot see the fields which are available on the right hand side, you cannot see them on the extract structure. Okay, so how I can bring these into extract structure means by selecting and bringing into the left hand side, you can bring them into extract structure. It means SAP given functionality to fetch these fields also into our BW, but we need to do some changes, like we need to bring them to right hand side, activate the data source, then only these fields are available in your extract structure. Okay, so these are the means what SAP did is they provided most of the very important fields for, because already 138 fields is not a small number. It given too many fields for our BW for the extraction, but SAP is providing few more fields which is as a complementary, just in words if we take. It is giving functionality for these also, but as per the user requirement, if you need any of these fields, you can simply bring them to the left hand side and activate your data source, so that those fields also will come to your data extraction. Okay, so we call them as a pool pool fields. How we can bring it? By coming to maintenance tab and bringing to the left hand side, you can bring all this. We will bring these fields to left hand side only when we need these fields required as per the business requirement. Okay, or else adding them to this left hand side doesn't make any sense. Okay, so that is other important point we need to remember here. So now we know how to activate the data source, and we know how to identify the base tables of each data source, and we know what is called the pool fields available in the pool. So what is next? So now how to replicate this data source into BW. Okay, so now already this VITM is available in my BW, so I cannot replicate this data source to BW. So now I will give you the example based upon this VAKON, because just now we activated this VAKON, so definitely this is not available in my BW system. Okay. Now when we learning about BW HANA, now what we learn in BW HANA system, most of the time we extract data into BW using ODP connection, not using the general connection. Okay. So it means in our earlier sessions also we talking about this ODP. Sorry. Oh my God, what happened? Just a second. So I'm opening my, BW system. Here what happening, if I go to RS7 under sources that, under data sources, I need to connect to my system. Okay, ODP. So using ODP means we always, most of the time in nowadays, we always trying to bring data into BW system using this ODP SAP extractors. Means via using ODP functionality, I am bringing data into my BW using this extractor, SAP extractors. So here I have two connections. So the connection which currently I am using is S4HANA ODP. Okay, so in this particular data source connection, if you try for this particular data source 12as underscore 11 underscore VAKON, this is not yet available because this is not yet active in ACC earlier. Just now we activated it. So in order to bring any data source into BW using ODP functionality, first you need to expose the data source in the ECC system to this ODP mechanism. So how to expose it? Go to SC38. Okay, go to SC38. There is a program called RODPS OS expose. Using this program, I can I can make this data source expose it to the ODP functionality. So simply go here, provide your data source name. So what is your data source name here? 12as11 VAKON. Copy here. Come to your program, provide your data source and click on release data source. Whenever you click on release data source, you will get it here. It is not coming. Yeah, there is some problem, on my side. That's why it is not coming. But generally we get here. So same thing happening here. Okay. So some problem in my system, that's why it is not coming. Okay, you need to release the data source to the 1 minute. I will click on now. You see, any data sources which are ready to be released, they will come in this way. So definitely you will find your new data source here, and you need to select that checkbox and click on OK. It will come to our ODP extraction. So once it is done, so how to bring it to BW? Now go to your BW system and which component. So the best way here is go to your RSA2 one more time, click on display. When you click on display, you see application component. On the general tab, you find under which application component this particular data source is available. It is currently available under SD application component. Now come to BW system and go to your application component SD, right click on it, replicate metadata. When you click on replicate metadata, you will get this kind of pop-up and click on OK button. Then it will give you, it will let you know, all the data sources here which are available under this SD. If you see here, you can see many of the data sources, and out of these data sources, you see some are showing update and some are showing create. Create means these are not yet available in our BW system, and we can see our VAKON is part of create, which means this is not yet available in our BW. So you can replicate them now into the BW system, so that it will create this existence in the BW system. So what I will do is I will uncheck first all, because I don't want to bring each and everything. I will go only for the data source which I need. I am selecting my VAKON and click on OK button. So you see source system metadata upload completed. Now if you refresh your screen here, now let's go to /n RS7 and go to data sources, expand SD. Then now you can see VAKON. So this VAKON data source now came to BW, but you see there is a symbol called not equal to. which means it is an inactive version. So you must activate your data source to do further activities. Go to edit mode of your data source, activate this one, click on OK. So now currently whatever I shown you, it is from the GUI. But generally in BW HANA system, you won't do this from the GUI. Okay, you do it from the SAP HANA Studio. So in that scenario, how to do this kind of activity from the HANA Studio point of view? So in the HANA Studio, there will be a folder called data sources. Okay, so whatever you are seeing in the data sources tab here in our BW, the same thing you see on the HANA Studio also. If I expand my data sources, it will be like this. You see there is a ODP SAP folder. Go here. Now go to your source system. Here this is your source system connection. Now under SAP I can see my SAP root node, everything. This is my SD component. I can go here. Now you see here I can see my BAKYN which I replicated now. Now right click on this application component, click on replicate. Same kind of how you did it from SAP GUI, same kind of steps you need to do here. So just to show you example from here also, I will deselect everything here and I will select, which you see this is the create button, and this is the equal to button. Okay, so I select this VDKYN. One more time VDKYN is coming. Yeah, there are two things are there. Okay, yeah, select this 1 minute. 1 minute. Let me refresh my data sources tab once. Refresh it. It's a BAKYN, right? Yeah, this is BAKYN and this is VDKYN. So now what I am going to do is I am deselecting everything. I am selecting my VDKYN here and then click on next button. And then you see when you go to next button, it is asking for activate new data source. Yes, it means generally when I do it from SAP BW system, you see the data source in inactive state, not equal to symbol when I replicate it to the BW. But in this HANA Studio, it is asking after replicating, do you want to activate your new data source? Yes, I want to activate it. I click this check mark and then click on finish button. Now SAP will replicate this data source for you. It is creating a backend job for the replication. When this job finishes, it means replication job finished and the data source will be in active state. Yeah, job finished. Now close this one. Now refresh your application component. Now you see VDKYN here. You see VDKYN and it is in active state. How I am saying it is in active state? The data sources which are in inactive state, they have this this red color mark. Here it is not there, which means it is in active state. I can check it from my SAP GUI also. Simply I will go here. I will again refresh one more time. R7 or you can go to here, refresh entire tree. Is it coming? Refresh entire tree. VDKYN. It's not coming. Sometimes it won't work. Yeah. /n R7 is the best way to screen refresh. Now I can see VDKYN. Yeah, here is the VDKYN and I can see it is in active state. Okay, so this is how to replicate data source into BW system. So what next? So after replicating data source into BW system, in traditional systems we use it to create info package to extract data into BW, and in latest systems using ODP connection we create DTP directly. It means in order to load data from SAP R3 into BW using DTPs, like how we extract data from flat file into BW, in the same way we need to create a target to load data from this data source into BW and then execute the DTP with extraction mode in it. Okay, now when coming to this LOS extraction, the next important point is initialization and delta mechanism. Okay, all the LIS data sources provides a delta mechanism, and we need to know about what is this initialization and delta mechanism for the LIS extraction.